Welcome to Awakened Motherhood, the podcast where mothers share their powerful stories of healing and empowerment. I am your host, Amanda Quigg, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and advocate. In each episode, we dive deep into the stories of mothers who have overcome adversity, found their fierce feminine power, and embraced transformative parenting. Whether you're a mother driven to fight for your children or someone with a story burning inside you, this podcast is for you. Together, we'll explore themes of resilience, self-trust, and healing from our traumatic experiences, all spotlighting the profound journeys of awakened mothers. Join us for a space of naked authenticity, deep inspiration, and genuine connection. Embrace the divine feminine and discover your own warrior mama within. Welcome to Awakened Motherhood, where your story is the spark for change.
Hello, everyone. Back to another episode of Awakened Motherhood. Today is going to be a solo episode with just you and I. And, honestly, this week snuck up on me a little bit. So here we are recording Thursday evening right before it launches Friday morning. But I want to have a conversation that I've had in other circles, but it's come up a bunch this week. And so it feels relevant to share here because when one group of people goes through something, it often ripples out. And I find that especially as moms, we're extra sensitive to so many things going on in the world, let alone within our kids. And what I want to talk about is this concept of the way duality shows up in the world, because it's really heightened right now. And things have somewhat settled down since the election. Sort of. The side sitting in fear is at least processed a lot of the fear and is starting to go, okay, this is the world we live in. We don't know what's next, but they're not in this active. The grieving process they've moved through it, right? And the side sitting in this, we won and all success is also kind of moved on a little bit. And there's still a lot to be said over what happens in the next month. But the biggest division and hysteria, at least, has calmed down. But that's not the end of it, right? And this concept of duality within the larger collective people is not just in politics either, right? There's the this versus that in every aspect of our lives and the way that we form identities around it. And we form these I am a whatever the thing is, right? I'm a mom, a daughter. I believe these things. I do this work and I form and I attach to this identity who I am, defined by the beliefs that I hold, and not just the roles that I play or the things that I do, but we attach our identity to this. I believe the world should work like this. I believe, and I go find the other people who also believe this, and we become echo chambers of each other. And then and our rightness, we are so deeply attached to this identity, whatever it is. And it shows up in politics. It shows up in, all kinds. Gosh, I think about motherhood, right? It shows up in how we birth our babies, how we feed our babies, how we help our babies sleep. It shows up in, in early infancy time a lot. It shows up in toddler times. It shows up in, are we gentle parents or are we, traditional parents, or are we, I'm just even making up these names, but it's just thinking through all of these ways in which we are defining ourselves by how we show up and how we believe we are supposed to. And it's really interesting when you start to back up from it a little bit, right? You realize in the midst of it that you can't win, right? Whether you're a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, you can't win. Whether you're a breastfeeding mom or a formula feeding mom or trying to do some combination, you can't win, right? And you feel like you can't win in any instance, and that's just within motherhood, let alone any of the rest of the beliefs, right? If you, in this group of people that we align to the same beliefs, we win, but outside in the rest of the world, we don't. And that's the problem in a lot of ways with this. And there's nothing wrong with exploring beliefs and finding ones that we align and agree with. But the reality is we have a perspective and a set of experiences that have defined those beliefs. And sometimes new information appears, right? Sometimes we learn that maybe something might be better for our bodies. Another example is even food, right? For a long time, eating a certain way was considered healthy. And that's changing. I don't know you guys, but I swear my feed is full of carnivore diets. Instead, it used to be the vegan, right? It's like literally polar opposites. We run one direction, we run the other direction. And it's this huge swing. And we could argue, okay, well, moderation is better. But is it for some people? I don't know, right? And so if we're not open to being curious and exploring why somebody thinks something else or what else is going on and making the best decisions, yes, we can, and not holding shame for the past. I mean, I was raised a vegetarian. I had not had a single piece of meat until I was pregnant with my oldest. I was 22. I had no desire. I just didn't know any difference. And as soon as I got pregnant, my body started craving things I had never eaten before. And so was I wrong for that? Was I less healthy? By that point, meat was a little bit healthy, certain kinds, small amounts was considered healthy. And so I followed that to support what my body was saying I needed. And as I've gotten older, my body shifting again in what it's saying it's needing. And was I wrong before or am I wrong now? There's no such thing here. And so my point in all of this is when we stop with the stake in the sand and we stop saying, I'm right because of these reasons that happened to me in the past. And so therefore I've made these definitions. And by me being right, everybody else is wrong. And believe me, I've done plenty of this in my life. But if we start shifting to this is the way I'm operating now because it feels the best for me in this moment, but I'm open to shifting and changing as things and new information changes, we start being open to other perspectives. We start being open to understanding other people and why they might believe the way they believe or why things might come to them. And, and especially, I don't know about the rest of you all, but my children are the best ever at triggering the places in me where I'm still holding some type of judgment or some type of something. They are amazing at it. And as frustrating as that is, it's also wonderful. When once I process my feelings, it's wonderful. Because if I'm holding a deep-seated belief or I'm holding a judgment about something, they will find it and they will poke it and they will question it and they will really make me, and they kind of force me to really look at it from a different perspective because I don't desire to just, this is the way it is. That's not how I operate. That's not ever how I've operated. And I rewrote that pattern in my childhood for my family. And now my kids are helping me expand in a different way. And so they will come out with all kinds of arbitrary logic or things, or they'll be in a frustrating place and need different kinds of emotional connection. And as much as everything in me is annoyed, the fact that they then respond to that annoyance with, why are you mad at me? Or I just need something. And it always reflects back to me where, okay, they're showing me where I'm not showing up in this way for myself, and they're pulling it out of me. Because that's the thing our kids do, right? They are these beautiful mirrors. They're these mirrors of ourselves. And when they're struggling with something, they're actually showing us where we're struggling with something. When they're having big emotions, they're actually showing us where we're having big emotions. It might not be an exact flip, but usually it is. And usually it's very connected to something else. If they're feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, and my 9-year-old tells me how stressful the 9-year-old is. Then, buddy, I love you, but it is not that stressful. And he says, you don't know. And I said, I do know. But, and then he said something to me the other day. And, I said, you don't have bills, you don't have responsibilities. Like, I get that you're a kid, but this is not something to stress about. He says, well, 9-year-old is way more stressful than being a baby. And so I am stressed. And I realized, from that perspective, from his perspective, when you're an infant and a toddler, so much is taken care of for you. And as you get older, you do get a little bit more at a time. And he's like, it's a lot for me. I'm still learning how to do this. And he's alone, right? We're all learning how to do this. And we can get stressed about it all, or we can just go, I'm still learning how to do this. And I'm willing to look at these parts of myself. Biggest reason that I stayed away from most of the spiritual communities in, most of my life was because of their love and light thing. That love and light and all the support. My mom was very, very love and light. And not that there's anything wrong with that. But I knew that there was more than just light. I knew that the world was full of darkness. We all had elements of it within ourselves. We all had more complexity to the experience. And truly holding on to love and light felt like a rejection of me because I was more than that. And in a lot of ways, the love and light versus the dark, in a sense, is another duality. It's another way in which, I'm and sprinkle my light on everybody else. We're invalidating other people's experience who are in deep, dark places. And that doesn't make them bad people. That just means there's more complexity. And really, the whole concept of spirituality is about the entire spectrum and recognizing that inside the darkness is where we find the light. Because without the darkness, light is just light, right? Things are actually much brighter in the darkness in a lot of ways. And shadow and depth and color depends on the spectrums of dark as well as light. And that rejection I felt meant that it's not for me. I don't relate. I don't align until I found this new possibility that actually was more encompassing. And I recognized that, again, the pendulum needed to swing one way so that we could start to pull it all together, right? The world had been through so much darkness for so long that it was focused on bringing the light forward. Really, we need to bring all of these parts together to ourselves. We need to acknowledge and recognize the deep, dark places that we are in. I was talking to a woman, her interview will probably air here in a couple of weeks, but I love the analogy that she uses to talk about her time in the darkness. And it feels relevant to share here. But she was talking about how, it's like if you imagine yourself almost as a tree, that when you go into the darkness, you actually are in the roots, like you're growing your roots and you're going deep down dark into these roots. And you can't see anything. You don't even know, there's nobody else there. And it's dark and it's murky and it's somewhat kind of miserable, but you're in it and you just need to be in there. And what I said to her when she was talking about this, and I said, that trees, the root systems are actually the way they communicate, right? They communicate within their root systems. And yes, they then grow taller as their roots. And that was kind of her point, is the deeper the roots go, the taller the tree can go. And so we go deep into the darkness, it allows us to stand tall and be both of those things. But at the same time, when we're reaching and connecting to other people, we do it in both ways, right? We shine bright and can be seen, but we also communicate on another level. And so we actually become more magnetic, more vulnerable, transparent, and understanding, and all of these other pieces, but we actually attract a different type of person when we're willing to share all of these pieces. And really, that's the point of this show. That's the point of my book. That's the point of everything that I've been doing, is to really inspire and encourage other people to share their big stories and to understand that even in those deep, dark places, that you're not alone, because even if you can't see them, there are other people down there too. There are people who have been there and who can relate to that level and relate to that point. And that I believe now that inside those dark places is really where our power lies and where the potency of motherhood actually comes from. Each mother holds a womb space and is a portal and a connection to so much we still don't fully understand from a scientific standpoint, but we could talk about the wounds as the voids and the connection to the field of infinite possibilities in a lot of ways too. And it is dark in there, right? That's the point, is the light hasn't sparked yet. And that when a soul enters and light is sparked, then it becomes a person. That's how the womb works. The same is true in the universe. There's a spark of light, and from the darkness emerges a star, a planet, a society of who knows, right? And so the same exact thing applies for ourselves as we go through these transformational processes. We go through these processes where we swing one direction and we swing another, and we pull ourselves apart and we have our stake in the sand, and then something hits us. And maybe for some people, it's even something like the election, where it just knocks them off their axis and they totally feel disconnected. For me, obviously, you guys know my story. It was a really big smack in the face, wake up. And I've had more and more versions of that in different times that have been not quite as massive, but still knocked me off. And what actually matters now? Things keep changing. What matters today, because I'm evolving with it. And every single time, the deeper I dive into the dark places, the deeper I reflect and go into myself and actually sit with, who am I? What matters to me? How do I desire to show up in the world? How do I want to serve and support those I'm here to do so? What does that look like? What does it feel like? And really sit with the rawness of it, because if we can allow those pieces to come up, we can really start to go, all the stuff that I thought mattered doesn't matter. It's like literally the amount of I have no more fucks left to give is really, really the vibe right now. I saw somebody post on Facebook talking about this, and that is exactly where I've been at. I have no more fucks to give. I could care less what anybody thinks of me. My children are the only people that really, truly matter. Yes, I have friends that I care about, but if they wake up and go, Amanda is not my friend anymore, I love you and thank you for being in my life, but I am okay. I don't care. I have lost everybody closest to me, and I have no more fucks left to give. If you don't align and agree, I don't care. I am open to change. I'm open to learning, but you have to be too. And my struggle isn't with which side you're on. My struggle is when you are unmoving at any side. It's a kind of a different perspective there. And, when it comes to the things that I want to put out into the world, I don't want to follow any rule books. I don't want my business to look like a normal anything. I want to just do what inspires and lights me up, and that's it. I don't care. If I want to write, I'm going to write. If I want to speak, I'm going to speak. If I want to do dance in the rain, I'm going to do that. That is how I feel like this new year is gearing us all up. There's no more stakes in the sand. There's no more, because somebody told me this is how I'm a good mom. This is how I'm a good wife. This is how I'm a good business person. This is how I'm a good employee. All of that, all of those stories. I have to do this in order for others to like, accept, support, all of those things. All of that is gone. It's like the slate is wiped clean. And if we can allow ourselves to look at those things and just stop giving a fuck, truly, just take a look at what actually matters to you. And sometimes we don't know. I know I spent a lot of time going, I have no idea. I got the thing that mattered to me. We got out of this horrific situation. We're safe. I don't know what else matters. And then something would creep up, and this spark of an idea would still come forward, and I could grab onto it. And sometimes I would let it go, but if it was important, it always came back. And that's the thing. If it's important, it holds what I call gravity, which is literally the gravity that we are on the planet, yes, but this magnetic field that pulls us to something. And if it's important, that doesn't go away. That doesn't leave us. It just comes back, and sometimes it evolves and there's a new form or a new understanding. And eventually it becomes so potent that we go, that's the direction I'm going. And it feels easy. I know when things for me are clear, they're easy. I don't question it. And if they're not clear and I'm trying to make it work, it's not easy because I'm pushing a boulder up a hill, tried too many things, I'm making it hard. Things don't have to be hard if we allow ourselves to be in flow and questioning and curious and okay with sitting in the discomfort. It's been a huge lesson for me this year. Huge. I had historically been push, 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 go, go, go. I got it. I need help. I'm going to just make it happen. That got me through a lot. I was very successful in a lot of ways doing that. But it was no longer supporting me, and certainly not this year had it supported me continuing to do that and to operate that way. And so now it's not how fast can I move, which is crazy. I mean, people say, you're not Amanda Slow. It's true, I'm not. But it's not how fast can I go in every moment. Because once the clarity comes, I go fast. I know that. It's allowing myself to recognize the potency of really digging deeper into these dark places, into the quiet, into the internal pieces of myself, right? And going within to go, what matters? And if I don't have answers right now, that's okay. Because I'm here and I'm present with me. I'm present with my kids. I'm paying attention to my surroundings in this moment. And I'm not focusing on what happened in the past. And I'm not planning too far into the future, being anxious about when the future is coming. I'm here. And this year for me has really been all about presence and being present in my body, being present with my children, being present in the world, and kind of allowing what life has to bring me come to me. And when I receive a very clear message of something to do next, then I move. And if the message doesn't come, then I don't. Hence new. That one is very new because my stake in the sand had been my identity about being fast and being capable and smart and figure it out. That was my stake in the sand. And I had to pull that out and go, it's not that slow is right either, but it's about presence in this each and every moment, because when I'm present with the energy, I can move quickly or not, depending on what is needed. And even this week, it's just been this up and down and shift. And the more present I am, the faster things around me start to happen. And it's fascinating to observe. I can't tell you the guests that are currently finding me that want to come be on this show. I'm just like in awe of. I wouldn't have been able to find these people, but they found me. Like, I met with 2 today, and both of them had such deep connections to other aspects of my story and the work I'm doing and the stories they have and they want to share. It's very exciting to say, this has potency. People are feeling it and it's building on something. So I'm going to keep going that way, right? But other parts of things had less response. And so I went, do I actually care to keep doing that? Maybe I don't. And I'm revamping my website right now, and I'm doing some other things because I want to actually rip more out and focus on the things that are working, that are fun. That's it. Like, that's how I want to enter the next year for me. I want to enter 2025 with the presence that I've learned in this year, and I want to bring back more fun and movement just for the sake of it. I want to be inspired and have more surprises from the universe. I want to feel more awe for how all of these things are unfolding that I could have never predicted. And I know that the only way that's going to work is if I continue to let go this or that in the way that I am right or wrong, or anybody else in the world, or any identity that I am holding deeply strong to. And I just let it go. And I allow myself to move more freely and unlock some of these pieces in my body and be open to the messages that want to come through. Anyway, so I hope I hope that has helped somebody out there. It felt like a message that really needed to be shared. And if you are desiring more support, I do have openings on my one-on-one calendar. If you would like to reach out, my website, amandaquickhealing.com, still has links to work with me. At some point, the website will change, but for now, it's still the same website. And you can book a one-on-one session or apply to work with me on a longer-term basis. And I would love to help you explore the challenges in your life and how we can together kind of look at what you need to contain within yourself and the ways that you need to look differently at your world and how you actually want to move through it. All right, everyone. I will see you next week with another interview. Super excited about that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we will talk soon. Adios.
Thank you for joining us on Awakened Motherhood. I hope today's episode inspired you and offered support for your journey. Remember, your story has the power to ignite change, and your resilience is a testament to your strength as a mother. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Share it with other mothers who might benefit from our stories of empowerment and healing. I invite you to connect with me on social media platforms at Amanda Quick Healing, or visit my website, amandaquickhealing.com, for more information on other ways to work with me. Until next time, keep embracing your divine self and discovering your warrior mama within. Thank you for being part of Awakened Motherhood, where your story is the spark for change.